Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how popular social media platforms really operate. We're going to dive into everything from the psychology of the app interface right down to the underlying business models. If you've ever felt like your phone knows you maybe just a little too well, or you realize you're spending way more time scrolling than you ever intended, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We all scroll, right? We all click, we hit like, and we share. But have you ever stopped to wonder who or what is actually curating and controlling the content you see every single day? Is it your own free will driving the bus? Or is it a carefully calibrated system designed entirely to keep your eyes glued to the screen? Today, we are going to unpack the hidden mechanics that steer your digital life. Okay, let's run through our agenda. 1. The generational platform divide. 2. The scale of moderation. 3. Deceptive design patterns. 4. The native content trap. And finally, 5. Reclaiming digital autonomy. Let's jump in. Section 1. The generational platform divide. Who is scrolling? So there is this massive generational divide in how these systems target us. Youth between 15 and 24 heavily favor Instagram and TikTok, really relying on those platforms and their favorite creators for news and entertainment. And, this is exactly where hidden advertisements thrive. Influencers are incredibly good at seamlessly weaving sponsored posts and undisclosed product placements right into their everyday vlogs. On the flip side, older adults, aged 50 and up, heavily favor Facebook and YouTube to build communities. Understanding this split is absolutely crucial because platforms tailor their algorithms and their stealthy ad campaigns specifically to these behaviors. Section 2. The scale of moderation, the invisible filter. The sheer scale of content moderation happening behind the scenes is just staggering. Based on recent data out of the EU, TikTok alone executed over 100 million moderation actions in a single observation period. Honestly, that's about 64% of the total across major platforms. Facebook followed with around 33 million and Pinterest with over 12 million. The sheer volume here tells us one very important thing. Human beings are definitely not the ones filtering your feed. Since human review at that 100 million plus scale is mathematically impossible, platforms rely almost entirely on automated systems. Hash matching acts sort of like a digital fingerprint scanner. It instantly recognizes and removes exact copies of known bad content. Meanwhile, AI classifiers act as the border patrol, constantly learning from massive data sets to predict and filter out brand new, unseen content. Long before you even log in, artificial intelligence has already meticulously manicured your feed. Section 3. Deceptive design patterns, the psychology of the interface. Now, the European Data Protection Board officially calls these tactics deceptive design patterns. These are not innocent little design choices or accidents. No, they are interfaces specifically weaponized to exploit your cognitive biases. They intentionally trick you into giving up personal data you never actually intended to share, subtly manipulating your free will just to feed their targeted advertising models. Let's look at continuous prompting, for example. You open an app and get a pop-up. Ads just for you, asking to track your data. You say no. You close the app. The next time you open it, boom, the exact same pop-up appears. The platform basically acts like a toddler, relentlessly asking for candy, wearing you down with consent fatigue until you finally give in and click yes, just so you can scroll in peace. These psychological traps usually fall into a few specific categories. There's overloading, which we just saw with that continuous prompting. Then there's skipping, where the platform ever so generously pre-selects the most invasive privacy options for you. Stirring hides important settings right in plain sight. Actually, it's a lot like how influencers sometimes bury the hashtag ad deep within a massive wall of other hashtags so you don't immediately realize you're looking at a sponsored products placement. And finally, dead ends, which give you an opt-out button that magically leads to a broken web page or an endless loop of help articles. Then there's something called deceptive snugness. Platforms often default your privacy settings to the absolute most open public option, like sharing everything with everyone, while wrapping it up in a menu that looks completely safe and secure. Unless you actively dig into a maze of complex settings to change that default, your data is fully exposed and totally ripe for monetization. Section 4. The native content trap. Monetizing your attention. Platforms, whether it's X, Facebook, or Instagram, aggressively prioritize native content, which is content consumed entirely within the app itself. If you post a link to an outside website, the algorithm actively suppresses it, meaning almost no one's going to see your post. They effectively punish you for trying to leave. Why? Well, because the exact moment you click away, they lose your data and can no longer serve you those highly lucrative, highly targeted ads. 98%. Just think about that for a second. That is the staggering amount of the Huffington Post's Facebook posts that are native. It proves that major publishers are essentially forced to hand over their audiences and adapt entirely to this closed-loop system just to survive the algorithm. They specifically design their posts so you never have to click away to the actual news website, keeping you comfortably locked inside the platform's walled garden. Section 5. Reclaiming digital autonomy. So, with invisible AI filtering our feeds and deceptive interfaces manipulating our clicks, how do we actually fight back? Well, the answer to taking back control really lies in education and community. Programs across the EU are fighting back with intergenerational mentoring. Tech-savvy youth are sitting down with older adults to help them identify the hidden mechanics we just talked about, teaching them how to spot an influencer's undisclosed product placement on Instagram or recognize engagement bait on a Facebook community page. It's really about building these defense mechanisms together. To quote the Internet Safety Guide for Seniors, digital illiteracy is no longer an option. Whether you are 18 and getting your daily news directly from TikTok or 80 and staying connected with friends on Facebook, understanding these underlying systems is now a mandatory survival skill for modern, independent life. I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you open an app, are you just passively consuming the feed, or will you spot the invisible system? The deceptive designs, the AI filters, and the hidden ads trying to hijack your next click. You know, you can't always control the algorithm, but you can absolutely control your attention. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.